Time is the most undervalued resource in the world. People guard their money like it's sacred. They track every dollar, chase every opportunity, protect every investment. But time slips through their hands like it means nothing, like they'll somehow get it back, like it's unlimited. But it's not. Time doesn't come back. Time doesn't forgive. Once it's gone forever. You can recover money. You can rebuild a business. You can restart your life financially. But you cannot earn another minute. And yet most people treat time like it's cheap. They trade it for nonsense. They waste it on distractions. They hand it over to people who drain them. They burn it on habits that steal from their future. They scroll. They binge, they complain. They hesitate. And then they turn around and say, I don't have time. Don't have time to get healthy. Don't have time to learn. Don't have time to build. The truth is, it's never been about time. It's always been about urgency. If people really understood time, if they saw it for what it is, the raw material of life, they would treat it like treasure. They would guard it like gold. They would spend it only where there are returns. They would protect it from thieves, distractions, bad habits, meaningless drama. They wouldn't waste it arguing with fools. They wouldn't burn it trying to please strangers. They wouldn't wait for someday to start living. Because time is life. Every minute you spend is a piece of your existence you will never get back. Every hour wasted is a piece of your future burned forever. And most people never realize this until it's too late, until their energy is gone, until the clock runs down, until the opportunity is passed. It's crazy when you think about it. People lock their homes, guard their possessions, fight over money, but hand out their time to absolutely anything or anyone. Hours lost to gossip, days lost to laziness, years wasted in dead-end relationships, decades sacrificed to careers they hate. And then they wonder why life feels empty. But the ones who understand time, they move different. They move with purpose. They say no more than they say yes. They cut quick. They don't explain themselves to everybody. They don't drown in distractions disguised as opportunity. They execute like they know the clock is ticking, because it is. Wasting $100, you can make that back. Wasting an hour, that's gone forever. And the real winners, they know this. That's why they protect their mornings. That's why they structure their days. That's why they operate with clarity. Not because they're robots, but because they understand life doesn't hand out extra hours. Time poverty is the most expensive poverty there is. You can lose all your money and get it back. You can recover from being broke, but lose your years, waste your life. That's a cost you can't repay. No refund, no rewind, no redo. That's why time has to be treated as sacred. This isn't about being busy every second. It's about being intentional. Rest well, live well, focus hard. Cut what is not important. Design your life around what matters most. Or drift through it lost, distracted, and wondering where all the years went. Because here's the hard truth. If you don't control your time, someone else will. If you don't design your days, the world will fill them for you. If you don't protect your attention, it will get stolen. People love to talk about priorities, goals, and dreams. But if you really want to know what matters to someone, look at their calendar. Look at their habits. Look at how they start their day. Look at how they spend their free time. That's where the truth is. Your life isn't shaped by what you say matters most. It's shaped by what you give your time to. Because time is the currency of life. And once it's gone, it's gone. Spend it wisely. And that's the real cost of not valuing time. It's not just missed deadlines or postponed goals. It's waking up years later realizing you built a life around urgency instead of purpose. It's realizing you've mastered being busy, but failed at being intentional. It's standing in front of a mirror and knowing deep down you've been moving, but not moving forward. Because true productivity isn't about doing more. It's about doing what matters. It's about clarity. It's about subtraction. It's about ruthlessly eliminating the unnecessary so that what remains gets your full attention, your best energy, your focused presence. And this requires a mindset shift. It requires seeing time not as something outside of you, but as a reflection of what you value. It means asking hard questions every day. Is this worth an hour of my life? Is this conversation, this meeting, this scroll, this habit, this relationship worth trading my existence for? Most people never ask those questions. They stay stuck in cycles of noise and distraction, living for weekends, waiting for vacations, hoping someday they'll feel alive. When in reality, aliveness comes from alignment, not escape. The people who win long term, they're not the busiest. They're the clearest. They're the ones whose calendars reflect their convictions. They're the ones whose schedules are built around their highest priorities, not filled with everyone else's emergencies. They're the ones who protect their mornings, who guard their evenings, who defend their focus like it's gold. Because it is. They know life is made of moments, and every yes is stealing a no from something else. So they say no often. They say no unapologetically. Not because they don't care, but because they care deeply. Because they know that scattered energy creates scattered results. Because they understand that if everything matters, nothing does. That's the difference between movement and momentum. Movement is frantic. It's reactive. It's exhausting. Momentum is deliberate. It's strategic. It's powerful. And building momentum starts with mastering your minutes. This is why discipline matters, not as punishment, but as protection. Discipline protects your energy from being drained by meaningless tasks. It protects your vision from being diluted by distractions. It protects your future from being hijacked by the comfort of the present. Because comfort is where dreams go to die. Comfort is where potential stays locked away. Comfort is where most people live. Safe, numb, unfulfilled. But you are not most people. You feel that tension for a reason. You feel restless for a reason. It's your future self calling you forward, reminding you that average won't satisfy you, that autopilot won't fulfill you, that wasting time is the most expensive mistake you'll ever make. Your breakthrough is not in adding more. It's in removing what's holding you back. Audit your life like it matters. Because it does. Audit your habits. Audit your circle. Audit your calendar. Audit your attention. Ask yourself daily, is this taking me closer or further from the life I want? And if it's not moving you forward, cut it. Because the real flex isn't how much you can handle. It's how much unnecessary noise you're willing to remove. The real strength isn't in saying yes to everything. It's in having the clarity and courage to say no to most things. This is how you reclaim your time. This is how you reclaim your focus. This is how you reclaim your life. Not someday. Now, because time isn't waiting, and neither should you. This is how greatness is built. Not by working yourself into exhaustion doing 100 unimportant things, but by narrowing your life around what actually matters. It's clarity over chaos, depth over distraction, mastery over multitasking. The world will reward you for doing one thing exceptionally well, far more than for doing 1,000 things averagely. Every time you allow yourself to be distracted, every time you react instead of create, every time you chase noise instead of substance, you weaken your future. You dilute your power, you delay your potential, and most people don't even see it happening because distraction today looks normal. It looks socially acceptable. It looks like everyone else scrolling, everyone else refreshing, everyone else wasting the best hours of their life numbed out and scattered. But winning at life requires rebellion against that norm. Winning requires discipline. The discipline to say no when it's easier to say yes. The discipline to sit in silence when the world wants you noisy. The discipline to do deep work when shallow effort would be quicker. The discipline to finish what you start instead of jumping to whatever looks shiny and new. Focus isn't sexy. Focus isn't loud. Focus isn't impressive at first glance. But focus is undefeated over time. The person who focuses compounds. They build skill faster. They create results faster. They separate themselves from the noise because while everyone else is starting over, while everyone else is scattered, while everyone else is distracted, they are locked in, consistent, dangerous. Focus turns amateurs into professionals. It turns potential into power. It turns time into legacy. Because here's the truth. Your future isn't hiding in 100 directions. It's waiting at the end of one path, one mission, one commitment fully lived. That's where all the growth is. That's where all the reward is. That's where your best life is waiting. So stop trying to manage time like it's about calendars and clocks. Start managing attention like it's your most valuable asset. Because it is. Your attention is the gatekeeper of your future. What gets your attention gets your life. Guard it. Fight for it. Train it. And watch your life change forever. And that's what separates the people who move forward from the people who stay stuck. It's not luck. Well, it's a way. It's not talent. It's time management rooted in self-respect. It's understanding that how you spend your hours is how you spend your life. If you waste minutes, you waste days. Waste days, you waste years. And that wasted time becomes wasted potential. But when you start treating your time like it matters, everything changes. Your circle changes because people who waste their life will feel uncomfortable around someone who values theirs. Your habits change because distractions lose their appeal when your purpose is clear. Your energy changes because you're no longer drained by things that don't matter. And slowly you become different. You move with intention. You speak with clarity. You act with urgency. Not panic, but purpose. You don't rush, but you don't delay. You're calm, but you're committed. This doesn't mean life becomes all work and no joy. In fact, it's the opposite. When you honor time, you make space for real joy. The kind that comes from presence, from being fully where you are, from knowing you handled your priorities and earned your peace. Rest feels better when you've earned it. Freedom tastes better when you've built it. Confidence feels deeper when you've protected your hours from nonsense and poured them into mastery, health, love, growth. That's the shift. Time isn't just about productivity. It's about priority. It's about legacy. It's about living a life that reflects who you really are and who you're really becoming. Look at your time like you'd look at your life savings. Spend it on what compounds. Spend it on what builds. Spend it on what matters when you're 80 looking back. Not when you're scrolling looking for a dopamine hit right now. Because nobody regrets being intentional. Nobody looks back and wishes they'd spent more time distracted. The real regret comes from realizing you traded irreplaceable time for things that left you empty. But you control that trade every day, every hour, every decision. Guard your time like it's gold. Use your attention like it's a weapon. Move like your future depends on it, because it does. And remember this. You are either wasting time or you are compounding it. There is no in between. This is the shift most people never make. They spend their lives reacting, letting time happen to them instead of owning it. They drift from task to task, conversation to conversation, moment to moment, without ever stepping back and asking the question that changes everything. Is this taking me closer to who I want to become? When you start living with that level of awareness, your whole life reorganizes. You stop being busy just to feel busy. You stop living in survival mode. You stop glorifying overwhelm like it's a badge of honor. You realize that real power isn't in how much you do. It's in how deliberately you do it. It's in how fiercely you protect your minutes from things that don't deserve them. And yes, this will cost you. It will cost you shallow conversations. It will cost you surface level relationships. It will cost you the approval of people who benefit from your distraction. But it will buy you clarity. It will buy you growth. It will buy you peace. It will buy you the life that most people only talk about but never actually create. Because what most people don't understand is that time is not neutral. Every hour is either an investment or a liability. Every choice is either building your future or betraying it. Every yes is a trade-off. Every no is protection. And if you don't know what you're building, you'll waste your life building something you don't even want. This is why urgency matters. Not panic urgency, but clarity urgency. Not frantic hustle, but precise execution. Not burning out, but burning in. Locking into what matters with such focus that everything else fades. People will tell you to slow down. They'll tell you to be realistic. They'll tell you to balance. But balance without direction is just stagnation. Slow down. Yes, but only after you've made real moves. Rest, yes, but only after you've earned it through deep, focused work. A recharge. Absolutely. But only if you're actually doing the things worth being recharged for. Because here's the truth most people don't want to face. You will either pay the price of discipline today or the price of regret tomorrow. And regret is always more expensive. So look at your time like the most valuable asset you own. Audit it ruthlessly. Cut what doesn't serve you. Guard it aggressively. Spend it intentionally. Invest it like your life depends on it. Because it does. And when you do that, when you start living like every hour counts, like every day is a gift, like your minutes are your life, something changes. You stop drifting. You stop delaying. You stop settling. And you start building a life so aligned, so intentional, so powerful, that one day you'll look back with pride, not regret, because the life you want isn't waiting for you later. It's being built by what you do right now. Time is not on your side. Time is watching. Time is moving. Time is undefeated. The question is, are you moving with it or wasting it? If you're saying yes to everything, you're unconsciously saying no to the things that matter most. That's the trap. That's the cycle that keeps people busy but broke. Broken peace, broken presence, broken joy, broken clarity. They don't need more hours in the day. They need fewer things in the day. They need precision. They need alignment. They need to elevate their standard for how their time gets spent. Because mastery over time doesn't happen in some distant future. It happens today, in the tiny, unglamorous decisions that compound over weeks, months, years. It happens when you stop living like time is disposable. It happens when you stop giving away your mornings to scrolling, your nights to meaningless noise, your weekends to recovery from a life you don't love. You master time when you master attention. When you stop dividing your energy across 10 things and start pouring it like fuel into one thing at a time. You stop being everywhere. You start being fully here. And when that happens, your life simplifies. Not because the world changes, but because you change. You cut faster. You decide clearer. You move lighter. You become unavailable for chaos, unavailable for drama, unavailable for anything that doesn't feed your future. Your clarity intimidates people who are addicted to distraction. Your focus will confuse people who thrive on noise. But that's the price of living differently. That's the cost of designing your life instead of drifting through it. And if that makes you feel like an outlier, good. You're supposed to feel different when you stop living like most people. Most people waste time like they'll get a refund later. You know better. Most people fill their day with low-impact actions and wonder why they feel empty. You know better. Most people trade their best hours for other people's agendas and then wonder why they feel lost. You know better. And knowing better demands doing better. It demands that you build a life where your values live on your calendar. It demands that you ruthlessly edit your commitments until what's left is only what fuels your growth. It demands that you stop apologizing for protecting your peace. Because peace isn't passive, it's built. It's guarded. It's earned. When your time is aligned, your life aligns. Your habits strengthen. Your energy multiplies. Your confidence deepens. You stop managing stress. You design freedom. You stop chasing balance. You create it by subtraction, not by adding more chaos. That's real wealth. That's real freedom. And that's what happens when you stop treating time like an accident and start treating it like the most powerful tool you own. Your future is shaped minute by minute. Not someday, not later. Now, always now. Most people don't need to move faster. They need to go deeper. They need to reconnect with the reason behind their actions, because saving time is useless if all you're doing is filling that time with things that pull you further away from who you really want to be. Efficiency means nothing if it's being used to accelerate misalignment. The real goal is not just to manage time. It's to live aligned. And alignment doesn't happen through better scheduling alone. It happens through clarity of purpose. When you know why you're moving, when you know what matters most to you, time becomes easier to command. You stop wasting half the day wondering what to do next. You stop saying yes just to stay busy. You stop chasing everything simply because it's there. You move different. You move with precision. You move like every minute counts. When you live like that, pressure stops controlling you. Comparison loses its grip on you. You stop chasing what everyone else is chasing and start building what only you can build. You know what deserves your energy and what doesn't. You know what gets your attention, what gets left behind. Because the truth is, most of the chaos people experience isn't caused by their schedule. It's caused by indecision. They spend hours hesitating, days doubting, weeks second guessing, not because they're lazy, but because they don't know what actually matters to them. And when you don't know what matters, everything feels important. Everything feels urgent. And you live reactive instead of proactive. But time doesn't respect intention unless it's backed by decision. You must decide clearly and unapologetically what your life is about. Not in theory, but in action. Not someday. No. Because until you do, your time will keep slipping through the cracks of your uncertainty. When you decide, though, when you decide with clarity, everything shifts. You start building around your values instead of your distractions. You structure your days around your purpose instead of other people's demands. You stop living on autopilot and start living on assignment. Every hour you spend aligned is an hour that compounds in your favor. It builds something inside you. It moves your life forward. It connects you to peace. Every hour you spend misaligned drains you. It delays you. It disconnects you from your future self. So if you're constantly tired, constantly frustrated, constantly wondering why you feel stuck, even though you're working hard, the real question isn't, am I doing enough? The question is, am I working on the right things? Am I buying time or losing it? Are my habits compounding for me or against me? Is this taking me closer to peace or further from it? Because time is not just how you get results. It's how you build identity. You become what you consistently do. If you spend your time reacting, you build a life of reaction. If you spend your time creating, you build a life of intention. If you spend your time chasing noise, you build a life of stress. But if you spend your time building carefully, choosing with wisdom, protecting your focus, you build a life that reflects who you really are. A life that doesn't just look good to others, but feels good to you. Peace doesn't come from avoiding work. Peace comes from doing the right work. The work that matters. The work that aligns with your values, your calling, your deepest truth. And living like that requires small, daily decisions. To let go of what drains you, to walk away from what distracts you, to protect what feeds you. You don't need to attend every meeting. You don't need to respond to every message. You don't need to say yes to everything just to be polite. You don't owe everyone access to your time. You don't have to explain your boundaries. You don't have to defend your silence. You just have to honor your direction. Because your time is sacred. And sacred things are protected. They're not handled casually. They're not left vulnerable. They're guarded with purpose. And your life is far too valuable to be spent on things that won't matter in a year or even a month. The greatest gift you can give to your future self is to become more intentional with your time now. Not when you're less busy, not when life slows down, not when things feel easier, but now. Because now is all you really have. And when you get to the end of your life, it won't be the money you remember. It won't be the possessions. It'll be the time. Who you gave it to, what you built with it, how much of it you wasted, and how much of it you protected to become everything you were meant to be. Your time reveals your truth. It shows you what you really value, not by what you say, but by what you do. And if you want to change your life, change how you use your time. Change what you prioritize. Change what you protect. Change what you pour yourself into. Because when you change your time, you change your direction. And when your direction changes, your life has no choice but to follow. You don't need another calendar app. You don't need a new color-coded system. What you need is courage. Courage to make hard decisions. Courage to walk away from time-sucking obligations. Courage to let go of familiar patterns that feel productive but keep you stuck exactly where you are. Because most people aren't trapped by circumstances. They're trapped by habits. Habits of delay. Habits of distraction. Habits of saying yes to everything and everyone except themselves. Habits of saying, I'll do it tomorrow. But if tomorrow never comes, neither does your potential. And you don't break those patterns by waiting. You break them by acting now, right here, right in the middle of the doubt, right in the middle of the pressure, right in the middle of the temptation to delay. That's where new futures are born. Not when it's easy, but when it's inconvenient. Your life becomes extraordinary the second you start treating your time like it already is. When you stop treating time like it's guaranteed. When you stop giving it away to things and people that don't serve the person you want to become. You stop going to events you don't care about. You stop saying yes to people who only call when they need something. You stop watching other people's lives while yours sits on pause. You stop reacting to everything and you start choosing. Intentionally, relentlessly, unapologetically. Because the people who live fully didn't get lucky. They got serious about their time. They got serious about their habits. They got serious about their mission. They realized they couldn't afford to give another hour to anything less than purpose. Your next breakthrough isn't waiting in another book, another course, another seminar. It's waiting in your next decision. The decision to cut the noise. The decision to protect your mornings. The decision to create before you consume. The decision to choose what matters most over and over again. Every distraction comes with a cost. Every delay is a withdrawal from your future. And you can't keep spending time like you've got a secret stash waiting for you later. You don't. This is it. This is the clock. This is your life. You want to build something great. Start here. Start now. Start by becoming someone who no longer tolerates wasted time. Someone who doesn't need to be reminded of their vision. Someone who moves with clarity, with strength, with urgency. Because they understand that time is not infinite. And yes, you'll feel resistance, you'll feel discomfort. But every time you choose action over avoidance, you build momentum. Every time you shut the door on distraction, you take back power. Every time you invest your time with intention, you rewrite your future. And if you stay consistent, there will come a day when people look at you and wonder how you changed so much, how you moved so far, so fast, and you'll know. It wasn't luck. It wasn't magic. It wasn't talent. It was time, used differently. It was courage, practiced daily. Because while they were waiting, you were working. While they were drifting, you were building. While they were planning, you were executing. And those small, quiet choices compounded. Not overnight, but daily in the dark, without applause, without guarantees. And that's what changed everything. You didn't just spend time, you multiplied it. You didn't just live life, you designed it. And now your life looks different because you chose different. It all started the moment you got brutally honest about your time. The day you stopped making excuses and started making decisions. The day you stopped asking for more time and started using the time you already had like it mattered. That's the edge. That's the power. That's the freedom. Not more hours. Not a new tool. A new standard. A new truth. Time is the most valuable thing you will ever possess. And from this moment on, you protect it like it is. You spend it like it matters. You live like it's finite. Because it is. And when you do that, your entire life elevates. Your work, your relationships, your peace, your progress, your purpose. When you finally grasp the value of time, something shifts in you forever. You stop playing small. You stop wasting days. You stop existing like a bystander in your own life. You start moving like a builder. You start thinking like an architect. You start deciding like a leader. You become conscious, intentional, selective. You say yes with conviction. You say no without guilt. You understand that every hour is a vote for the life you want or the life you're trying to outgrow. And you vote with action. You vote with presence. You vote with focus. Time gives you one chance, not one day, one life, no practice round, no second edition, just this one life. And how you spend it, that's entirely up to you, not your past, not your circumstances, not the world, you. And when you truly understand that, when you live like that, your whole world changes forever.